Hello, Crypto Pipto, this is Don Crypto Numerous Millionaire, one and only. Pump it up. Competition is increasing. This is why I'm recording this very urgent video, because Umee enabled liquid stake assets on their platform. What it means, now you are able to take extremely risky investments to maximize your profits up to 50% returns on your atoms staying liquid at all times. But of course, there are risks. And to know all about the potential opportunities and risks, you must smash the like button and share this video. If you haven't heard right, I will repeat once again. Like this video, we don't have all day, brother. And now, let's start. So if you have not used Umee, we need to hit launch app once I'm on their website, This is lending borrowing platform. And it just happened that they enabled liquid stake assets as ST Atom and ST Osmo. I will be using ST Atom here, and I will show you the strategies how you can maximize the return on ST Atom up to 50% returns. But of course, there are some risks, and I will try to tell you what you should do to minimize the risks, but also I will tell you how it could happen that you could get liquidated one day. So first of all, we need to deposit ST Atom. If you don't have ST Atom, you must go to Stride and start liquid staking your Atom. But what I do recommend you to do is to make sure where is the best price. So for example, if I would choose 10 Atom to transfer to ST Atom, I would get 9.21 ST Atom, because how it works, ST Atom grow in value as the Atom rewards occur. So over time, ST Atom grow in value should be around 20% a year in relation to Atom. But I also recommend you go to Osmosis and see if you might be getting better deal here. So if you get better deal on Osmosis, swap it here and withdraw it from Osmosis to your Stride address. And if you get better deal on the Stride, exchange it here and it will be deposited on your Stride chain. So once you have it, you can go to Umee, and then I'm going to transfer ST Atom from my Stride to Umee. So let's transfer it. And as you can see, I have 18.74 ST Atom. We are going to see if I'm able to double this. So once I double this, let's have a look what happens. Stride offer 22% APY. If I would double it, I can go to 45%. Maybe I can even more than double. Okay. So as I transferred my ST Atom, I'm going to go to the dashboard, and once it's deposited, I'm going to supply it. It should be here. I've done it before, so I can manage it over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to supply maximum of my ST Atom supply, and now it takes the transaction, and after that, it will be supplied as the collateral, so I'm able to borrow against that. So this is important now. I supplied ST Atom. It's worth $290 right now, and I can borrow these assets against that. The reason why I'm not going to borrow stablecoin, but I'm going to borrow Atom against that, because the price relation between ST Atom and Atom should be more stable than between ST Atom and USDC. What it means, so right now it's valued at 290. If I borrow 60% of USDC against that and the price of ST Atom crashes below my USDC, I'm getting liquidated. But if I borrow 60% of Atoms against that, these prices should be more correlated. So this 40% crash of derivative against the Atom is less likely to happen. And also, as we might be getting, Babylon security that shorten the unbonding period, the price could be even more stable. So I'm going to borrow maximum of Atom, which is 60%, I believe. Let's approve it. And you can see that I have to pay back around 4% on this loan a year. But I will still be making money because I should be earning over 20% on my liquid stake assets, right? So what I have to do now, I actually have to withdraw these Atoms. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to transfer these Atoms to the Osmosis. The easiest way to do it, you can simply withdraw it to your Cosmos chain, right? So I'm going to transfer this from Umee to Cosmos chain. So that would be the easiest. And if you can transfer it directly from Umee, you can go to Kepler And if you have enabled, let me find Umee. If you have enabled IBC transfer, you could easily transfer it to the osmosis, which is channel 0. So you added the channel 0, you put the osmosis address, and then transfer it. So it will land directly to osmosis. The slower but easier way is withdrawing it to Cosmos. So there is quite a few transactions we have to do. Sorry for this complicated process. But once it's done, it will be withdrawn to Cosmos address. So as it arrives, I can deposit my atoms. So it was like 12.87. I have a little bit more because I had something on my wallet. And I'm going to deposit now. So as I said before, the faster would be if you can do direct transfer from Umee chain to osmosis, so you don't have to go through this whole process. But of course, it's not ideal. So if you want to do easier steps and use the, interface of osmosis, you can also do it. So after that, I'm going to swap my atoms to ST atoms. So let's find the ST atom. And of course, you can pay attention to squeeze the maximum value. If the ST atom is more expensive here than on Stride, you can do it via Stride. But it will be faster for me here. So I'm doing maximum. And I'm swapping this to ST atom. Approve it. And after the swap happen, I'm going to withdraw it again on this Stride chain. So withdraw. And I'm withdrawing it now to the Stride chain, okay? I know there is a lot of steps, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to repeat the same process and deposit the ST atom from the Stride chain to Umee the same way I did it first time. So what you will be able to see, I'm already making around 30% APY on my atoms because I have more of ST atoms right now. So as I deposit it on Umee, I'm going to manage. And you can actually see I have more ST atoms. So I'm supplying more. And now I will have around 30 ST atoms. What it means, I can now borrow more atoms against that because my collateral become bigger. So once it's here, I'm going to manage my atoms and I'm going to borrow more atoms against that. So now here is the process. What I'm going to do, I'm going to continue this process for 2-3 times, till it makes sense to maximize the amount of my ST atom. So I'm going to skip to that. Now, it's important. You would ask, what are the risks? Even though we borrow atoms against ST atoms, the price should be the same, right? But you need to understand that this ST atom still could have flash crash because this is separate token. So if suddenly someone would dump a lot of ST atoms and the price of ST atoms would drop below the value of this thing that we borrowed here, which is atoms that we borrowed, this position would get liquidated, right? So we would lose quite substantial amount of money. As long as it doesn't happen, if we don't have this 40% of flash crash, you could say you are relatively safe. But if you are degen, obviously you can do this strategy to maximize your returns. So I did it a few times, 4 or 5 times. I don't think there is really point of doing more than that because the benefits are smaller and smaller and the risk is growing. So I did that my last tranche right now. I have extra 3 ST atoms, right? So it doesn't matter if I supply them or not. I'm still earning the rewards on my ST atom. But what I would advise to minimize the risk with this last piece of ST atom is actually worth to add this as the collateral. Why? Because it lowered the chances of liquidation. You have this extra few percent of collateral to not get liquidated, right? So as you can see, I will have around 46 ST atoms and we started with 18 point something. So as of now, I'm earning around 50% or maybe even more APY on my initial atoms. Of course, you need to remember that I'm also paying around 4% on my atom, but I'm also earning around 1% on providing collateral, right? So I should be making around 50%. And as you can see, the value of my atoms is now at $710 and we started with like $290. So this is how you do it. Remember, there are always the risks. So it's very important to understand how all of this processes works, and I hope this video presented to you all of those risks and presented how this process works. Remember, derivative is not the original asset, and it can always, depeg from the original assets by quite a lot, especially in the moment of the flash crash. Those are quite unlikely too. That doesn't happen often, but it does happen. If we will be able to lower the unbonding time, this price stability will be always better. So there is this argument that if we get lower unbonding times, people will stop using liquid staked assets. The truth is completely opposite. If we are able to stabilize the price, there is more utility for the liquid stake assets. And you can see it right now, this extra utility with Umee. Important thing to know that if these sort of strategies become popular, and they might be, and they might drive the next bubble, what we can end up with much higher price of ST Atom, being at premium. So then people probably will start selling that and using Stride to get that. Because, if this becomes popular, a lot of people will be switching their atoms to ST Atoms to maximize these profits. And that would make ST Atom trade at the premium. So I hope this video is useful. With that, remember, if you forgot, once again, hit the like button. If you missed, let me know what do you think. With that, Don Kryptonium's out.